Deadline Day, everybody. Did you know? I didn't. Not too sure what all the fuss is about. To be honest, it's just nothing's been going on at all, really. Just the usual, just a normal day, just a normal day at uni. 9 o'clock starting on Monday. Wow, wow, wow. Quite. It's been quite a day without a lot really happening. So I've got a few little notes here that I just want to take you through. We'll do it in some sort of order. But it's such a strange day today because the one thing we need, a left back, the one thing we've needed all window, a left back, is going to go down to the wire. And we've also got whisperings of a surprise departure, which I have whittled down to 4. And it could all be wrong, but we will see. We will see. Actually, who was this fella earlier on who we apparently missed? I'm not sure. I've forgotten his name. That was it. There we go. I didn't write it down because I thought I'd remember it, and I just sort of didn't. There we go. Okay. So today's been busy because I've been doing uni bit, but also I've been trying to keep on top of all this. I've got a deadline day window roundup article for Lincoln City, which I've made a good bit of progress on, and I'm going to try and get that one finished and sorted as soon as possible. I just hope. I mean, this is going to sound horrible because I want Lincoln to do well, but I hope they don't do anything in these last few hours, just so I don't have to do like reams and reams of research into a player I've never heard of. Like Clucas, James Collins, they're all players. I know it's only Gardner who they've signed who I'm not familiar with. Us, however, Xavi. Let me do a quick little screen share. So I was talking to friend of the show, friend of the channel, James Richings from the Lincoln end, from the Wickham end, who I actually met at Lincoln City. After we've spoken and worked together on a loan roundup video I did a couple of years ago. I met him when I was covering the Wickham Lincoln game, and we've had a bit of a chat about Xavier Simons, and I've sent something over to him which I was with his arrival looming, I spoke to journalist and Hull fan Joe Collins about what he can bring to Adams Park. So I've written up 400, 500 words, and it's just chucked in there. So actually, what I'll do for you is I'll put the link in chat if you want to have a little read later on of what I wrote about Xavier Simons. And I'll repost it on my Twitter, and I'll retweet it, put it on Instagram stories or whatever once we've finished this. So let's start from the start with Jadon Danns, because that one was rumoured and then killed very quickly. So Fletch put it out last night, and with all due respect, Fletch, I don't doubt that you were told something that you trusted, but I thought a striker, strange one, when we need on loan, especially when we need to be prioritising, I don't know, a left back, and it just so happens that he looks to be off to Sunderland now. Yeah, Jaden Dans didn't happen. Oh well. What did happen though, that came out early in the day, John Egan, absolutely fantastic signing. Absolutely fantastic signing, John Egan. Absolutely brilliant. I summed it up perfectly on my Twitter earlier on, actually. I said about John Egan. John Egan is a very smart addition. Do I think he'll play every week? No. Is he more than good enough to if needed? 100%. It's just a question of whether his body can hack it after his big injury and not playing much for Burnley. He adds much needed championship experience, know-how and nous to a backline that is solid away but leaky at home. His arrival will massively benefit Charlie Hughes and Stan Ashby. Learning off a seasoned pro like Egan for 18 months will help them to no end. Cracking signing. Well done, City. Hopefully, he's more of a, as Tiger Tube commented, hopefully he's more of a Tommy Elphick than a Liam Ridgewell to a shaky defence, because Tommy Elphick, when he came in, was ace. Yeah, I'm pleased. I'm very, very pleased with John Egan coming in. Ireland international. He's got over 400 games under his belt. Happy with that. I'll cover a 21s rumoured signing because they are playing now. Hugh Parker, a striker from UCD in Ireland. Similar to Cathal McCarthy, I think it will get confirmed tonight, but I'm not sure if it's the same case as with McCarthy, where Parker will stay in Ireland until the summer and then come over and link up with the 21s. I'm not sure the specifics of how that one's going to work. It was the same. Well, it was that with McCarthy, but I'm not sure on the specifics, whereas I was on the McCarthy one. And that leaves us with the left back. Oh, Nathaniel, by the way. Bring back Pelkas. Well, no. And thank you, Will Day. Will's decided to take a break from deadline day because he just can't be asked. Someone said further up, Nathaniel, that with respect to all the others on Hall and Back, Tigers Talk, etc., you and Nathaniel are the only ones that talk any sense. I dispute that, because everyone has the moments of lunacy, idiocy, and just damn right incompetence, and it just varies week to week who that is. No, Will Day said something nice about us, Joe. You plonk. I have no idea who Will Day is, Nathaniel. I'm so sorry. So yeah, the left back. Kai Wagner was one that we were linked with and that we had a deal fall through reportedly for. Being brutally honest, Will Day. Oh, wait, hang on. Further up, was it Will who comment? Oh, yeah, sorry, I didn't read the comment. I didn't read it. Yep. Okay. Nathaniel, it's incompetence from me. See, what was I just saying? We all have our moments of incompetence and idiocy. There was mine. Oh, it's almost as if it was set up perfectly. Kai Wagner, then. Had I heard of him before I came out of a uni lecture and seen that the Express had reported we had a 1.7 million loan to obligation to buy deal turned down, verbal agreement turned down, didn't have a clue. Now I've done some more research on him. He's German, which based on the first half of this season, isn't a very good omen. Because of the record of a certain Mr. T. Walter and the fact Malin was terrible. And he's 27 and he's playing in the MLS. So with all due respect, I'm glad we avoided it. I am very, very, very glad we avoided it because you're 27 and in the MLS, you're finished then. It's not like Crooksy where he was good over here before he had 6-7 months in the MLS. And like you look at Wagner's career, is he a left back? Yes, but he's played for SSV who are a team I've never heard of. Up to now, playing in the Zweite Bundesliga, in the Zwei Bundesliga. He then moved to Schalke's reserves, then played for Fußballclub Versberger Kickers, who play in the who currently play in the Regionalliga Bayern, which is the highest association football local regional league in the state of Bavaria, which is the German 4th tier. And he played for them in 2017 to 19 when they were in the 2nd Bundesliga, in the 3rd Bundesliga. And they were going through a bit of turmoil as a club. So, with all due respect to him, Kai Wagner would have been terrible. You can just sometimes you can see it with players that when they come over, they're gonna be crap. Like Matazo, you could tell when he signed. Right, he's played nearly 90 games for Monaco in all competitions, and he's 22. This kid's got something about him. Gustavo Puerta, you could see that. Right, he's rated really highly by Xabi Alonso, who will know a good midfielder when he sees one because he was a world-class midfielder. He must have a bit about him. Zambrano, linked with Man United, linked with Bournemouth, linked with Barcelona before the doping ban stuff. So you can tell when players are going to come over from abroad and be decent. In most cases. Bellumi was an unknown. I didn't have a clue who he was. He was just sort of quite high potential, so it was worth a go, and he looked all right. Miller, I don't class as coming from abroad because he spent most of his career in England. He only went over to Basel briefly. But yeah, Kai Wagner, I sensed as soon as I looked into him a little bit more. He's 27 and playing in the MLS, and that was his career before he went there. It would have been such an underwhelming signing, and I don't think he'd be any better than Matty Jacobs, Sean McLaughlin, Brandon Fleming, James Furlong out on loan. I think he'd have been a lot worse than what we've got already. So I'm not too fussed that one hasn't come off. Fabrizio Romano is now reporting Emmanuel Dennis going to Blackburn on loan to the end of the season from Forest. He's on something like 60 grand a week at the City Ground. Jesus. Wow. Baz also says on this live blog, he's ordered a takeaway because he thinks we're going the distance. So, right, we've covered Xavi. Brandon Fleming. We've cocked that up, haven't we? Haven't we just cocked that up? Jeff mentioned it further up. Feel sorry for Brandon, nice lad. Yeah, like it was Doncaster who ended that loan. It wasn't us who recalled him. It was Donny who ended it. Let me make that absolutely clear. Donny ended that loan. We did not. We didn't just drag Brandon Fleming back. He was happy at Doncaster, but it was a Doncaster decision to end that loan. Where we have failed is we struggled massively to get him back out. What we should have done is had a move sorted by now for him. And we didn't. Be it permanently or on loan. We did neither. His contract's up at the end of the year. You feel he's not gonna get a new one. And I can't help but get the feeling that it could have been so different for Brandon. You know, you look at how good he was under Shota Arveladze. And you know how that pre-season he was set up to be the first choice left wing back. But then he got an injury. And under Liam, put it this way, if he wasn't still rehabbing that injury when Liam came in, it would be so different. But when he was getting back, Liam needed height because we were conceding loads of goals from crosses and set pieces, and Brandon's not tall. And, you know, there's nothing he can do about that. He's just victim to that. So, Brandon, yeah. It's a shame that he's 25 years old and he's going to be spending the next 100 days or whatever we've got left of the season training with the under-21s. The club have done him wrong there. The club have done him massively wrong. And it's a shame. It's a real shame. But as sad as it is, it's football sometimes. It's football sometimes. And it wasn't a case of Enshep, what does that say if he doesn't get into Donny's team? All it was Doncaster had 3 left backs who were top end League 2, solid League 1 level. So they didn't see the point in keeping one there on loan when I think the other 2 are permanent players. I think that's all it was. We didn't really talk about Xavi, actually, did we? We'll tick Xavi off now. The 4 Tigers fans, I addressed this last week, but I'll do it again. It was just earlier in the season, it was draining sitting and watching those games, let alone watching them back and editing them. And it's a case of time to edit them, which I'm going to get better with my time management after a match. And, you know, we're packing for uni, traveling back to uni. I am going to get better with it. I promise I will. But I am still about. I am still present online. I am still here. You've just got to find me on a different platform and a day later than you would usually on a Saturday, on a Sunday. But the vlogs will come back at some point. They will come back. I'm not going to set a game and promise it, but I will be doing them. So, Xavi, as I said in my piece, he'll be a good signing for Wycombe. Unbelievable. I watched Wycombe earlier this season, and a player like Xavi in the holding role will complement someone like Cameron Humphreys further forward for them. Close to a permanent switch, but he turned it down in favour of staying here. QPR were interested, but City didn't want to strengthen a divisional rival. So he's heading to Adams Park on loan with the view to making that move a permanent one in the summer. So he's stood out this year as Xavi. He's 100% stood out. He turned up back from his loan last year with the squad in tatters and a new manager, a manager who was unpopular in the dressing room and among fans, but Xavi was arguably the only player that he improved and got the very best out of, apart from Ivor Panda, who was just sort of like stopping shots that everything was getting through. Excuse me. He loves an effort from range, playing as a holder. He loved to get forward and have shots on goal. And then it's just a shame that for him, well, not for the club, obviously, because Steven Alzate has been fantastic since Ruben Sayers came in. But it's, the fact Steven Alzate was fit has limited Xavi's minutes. And Ruben likes him, but we've invested in central areas this window. And because of that, Ruben knows he's not able to give Xavi the minutes he wants, the minutes he needs. So that's why his departure has been sanctioned. It's a loan originally with an option to buy. An option to buy, view to permanent, whatever you want to call it, in the summer. Let's just have a quick look and see. What's going on here? Anything new? Anything new going on at all? Nothing new just yet. Right, next on the list, Andy Smith. Andy Smith's another one like Brandon Fleming, really, isn't he? Where they just need a permanent move, because I love Smudge. He's an unbelievable lad. But he's just not broken through. How old's Smudge now? He's 23. He's 24 in September. He needs to be playing games. He's been linked with Gillingham. He's been linked with Leyton Orient. They'd be two good moves for him, I think. Gillingham are at the sharp end of League Two, I believe. But no, they're not at the sharp end of League Two. Sorry, they're sort of in mid-table doing nothing. So I don't think that would necessarily be a fantastic move for Andy. Let me just have a quick check who else he's been linked with, because I'm certain I've missed a club here, an obvious club. Pete O'Rourke linked him to Gills. There was a link somewhere. I can't find it. I've forgotten what it was. Yeah, I can't find it. But Leyton Orient would be a cracking move for Andy Smith. Would be an unbelievable move. So, Smudge, done. Covered. Amer and Cynic, Abdus trained today. Those two will go. I'm certain of it. Especially Cynic. It'll just be within like the next week. Within the next 8 days, because the Turkish window doesn't shut until Tuesday next week. Uriel Feli, who cares? But we'll probably announce today that we've sold him to Universitario, and thus he's been loaned to somewhere else, Deportivo, somewhere or other, in Peru, where he's been loaned out to from them, but we've not officially confirmed his departure yet. Just let me check the website, actually, because he was listed as out on loan until the 31st. They've not pulled him off that. It's not an automated thing to pull him off that. Okay. I'd still possibly expect a Tyrell Sellers-Fleming, a Harry Vaughan, a Rocco Coyle to go out on loan. Possibly all three of them. Especially if Hugh Parker comes in and goes straight into the under-21s and doesn't go back to Ireland. And that leaves us then with our surprise departure, which it's got us talking, hasn't it? And I've narrowed it down, I think, to 4 players to who this could be. We think this deal we're still working on the left back. Surely it is. Surely it is. However, what does this mean for everyone else? Gus, Finn, Casey Palmer and Mason Burstow are the 4 I've narrowed it down to. Is as to who this surprise departure could be. I think Burstow is a logical one because Gelhardt, Joseph, Pedro, Amrabat coming in, Lincoln. What role is he going to play? So I think Burstow could be the surprise, as in he goes out on loan. Finn Burns, based on the noises Baz has been making today, I think is unlikely, although entirely possible because now we've got John Egan in and it frees up the loan space for a left back. So that's Finn Burns covered. Now, my other 2. Although he's injured, Casey Palmer, with the way our midfield is at the minute, you've got to wonder, now he's been out of the picture for a while, where does Casey Palmer fit back into this? Could Mark Robbins want to take him to Stoke and just take the hit of not having him available for 3 weeks? Who knows? But I think the most likely one is, in fact, for me, I think, Gustavo Puerta. Which pains me to say, because I love Gustavo. I think he's a brilliant player. And you all know why. Didn't play on Saturday, hasn't played. He's been dropped to the bench a little bit. And Danny puts in chat, I don't see the logic for it being Gus. I think the logic I'm applying, I think is perfectly sound. We've signed Elio Matazo, we've signed Matt Crooks, Regan Slater's still here, Stephen Alzate is still here. And because we've spent a lot of money in this January window, 2.5 mil on Kyle Joseph, loan fee in 6 figures for Louis Barry, nearly £2 million on Elio Matazo. We've then got loan fees probably for Lincoln as well. Amrabat coming in, his salary, a fee for Matt Crooks, a loan fee for Gelhardt. A nominal fee of reported about 250 grand for John Egan today. I think what we've realised is Gustavo is close to hitting the obligation threshold, the number of games he has to play for his loan move to be made permanent. And because we've spent this money, if that gets triggered soon, we might not have enough when you take into account turnover and what we bring in each month, what we pay out each month, and how much we're losing every week to pay that fee for Puerta and still be sound with financial fair play, profit and sustainability, FFP, PSR, whatever you want to call it. And that explanation of the money not being there to pay for the fee that needs to come out straight away if he hits his game threshold would explain why he's been an unused sub in the last 2 games. I hope to God it's not Gustavo Puerta, but would it surprise me if it was? Not really. Did he come on against Sheffield United? Have I got that wrong? Just give me a second. I'll fact check myself here. Yeah, Gus came on against Sheffield, so I'm not sure what it is. Point there though, Danny. We're still paying for Zambrano even though he can't play. I think Adjun would rather not play him, keep him till the summer, then sign him permanently. That for me, I think is. Well, that's the thing with Zambrano as well. Have they got a better deal, a more affordable deal than we have for Puerta in Zambrano? If he, well, regardless of how long he's banned for or not, he's got his hearing at the Court of Arbitration for Sport next month. I don't know the exact date for it. I don't think that's in the public domain. But Adjun believes he is innocent. He is our boy. We believe him. We trust him. He's innocent. Do they think that it's worth spending that money on Zambrano, who's got a higher ceiling and thus probably more profit later, further down the line after the ban, and we'll get him on a cut price because he's banned, then they think it's worth putting in for Puerta? Does Ruben Sayers rate Gustavo Puerta as highly as we do? There's so many questions that are being that we need answers to if this surprise departure is gonna come to fruition. And someone's just put here, I'm not watching the Borough game, obviously, because I'm here. But someone's just put on Twitter, I think Giles just showed more for Borough in 1 minute than he ever did for us. So here's a point for left back. Jeffrey Schlupp is going to Celtic. Does that free up Greg Taylor? That's a point I've just seen as I've logged on Twitter and seen that and checking for updates. I hadn't thought about it like that. It could do. He could be the one. I put it this way. I don't think the surprise is Ömer, because that wouldn't surprise anybody unless he's not going to Turkey. Cynic, who cares? That's not a surprise unless Baz is just taking the mick. Okay. Shall we move on from that? That's all the business covered that might happen. Unless I've made a note here of anything that I've missed. Don't think so. I've mentioned Cynic and Ömer going next week, haven't I? So that leaves us then with the question of, well, I am going to do a bit of a novelty one first. Squad numbers. So at the minute, we have number 9 free. But let's be honest, let's not be giving a left back number 9. Come on, City, don't be stupid. And 10 and 11, Amer and Cynic are still taken. So we won't have anyone coming in there and taking those for now. Number 13 is free. 15 has just been taken by John Egan. Giles as 3, Malem as 8, Simons as 18, Smith 26, Rachopi 31. They will all be kept like that. They will all still have those numbers because they're only loaned out, because there is a world where we have a load of injuries and we have to recall every single one of them. This is Hull City we're talking about. And if someone's nabbed their squad number, then you can't afford to take that risk and bend those rules. So we've got number 13 free at the moment. Number 35 free at the moment. Number 39 free at the moment. I think whoever this left back is will come in and take number 13. Unless it's like, just as a random example, never going to happen, but Connor Bradley from Liverpool, where he's got a number 84, he's stuck with that forever. A player like that. So, and then they come and take, they're number 60, and they go and take number 60. So, that's where we are. And in terms of deal sheets, if we need an extra half hour to get a deal done, they exist in the Premier League. They do not exist in the Championship. Just to sort of talk you through how a deal sheet works, the wording of it in the Premier League is you submit one of them before the deadline to the Premier League, and that gives you an extra bit of time to get the deal completed. In the EFL, all documentation, quote, must be provided prior to the deadline closing for the registration of a player to go through. What the EFL do offer instead is a quick application, which I'm not too sure how it works, to be honest, because I hadn't heard of it until not so long ago. If the club is in a full application, this is another quote. I think as Baz just posted this as well on, he has. He's just posted this on his Hull Live blog. If the club is in, quote, a full application at 10:30, they will receive a warning that states the system will open a quick application at 11:15, where only certain fields need to be completed. In the last 15 minutes of the transfer window, EFL systems allow clubs to submit the necessary registration form without completing the full application process. Where they do this, the clubs then have an extra 15 minutes to complete the full process. This avoids clubs missing the deadline in circumstances where they have agreed everything and signed everything necessary with players and another club before 11 p.m, but they've just got to complete the full registration form for him, basically. So what that does is if they're very, 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 very close to a deal, it buys them an extra 15 minutes after the deadline to make that deal, to fully ratify that deal. I get the feeling we could be using that. And I've just seen in chat, and I've just seen it here as well, Gillingham have now agreed a deal for Hull City defender Andy Smith on loan. That's via Pete O'Rourke. Better move. There's a better move for him than that, surely. Surely. It could be Amer. It could be Hype saying a surprise. Turkish window is open for another 8 days. Yes, Danny, another week, because we're nearly at Tuesday now. And that closes on the 11th. I saw someone say the German window is closed, so Leverkusen can't recall Puerta. There's a difference between us cancelling the loan and Leverkusen recalling him. If we cancel that loan, that is done from our end. We can do that. There's nothing Leverkusen can do. They've just got to accept it. But Leverkusen might not be able to recall him outside of their transfer window. Comment about David Datro Fofana. Could we be trying to get that Chelsea striker we tried for last summer? No. If Fofana is available, then it won't be surprising if we have a go for him. We won't, because we've spent money on strikers. And we'll be focusing on a left back on loan, if anything at all. Yeah. So smudge to Gillingham then, 17th in League Two. They've got Robin McKenzie there. They've got Max Clark there. Their head of recruitment is also Andy Hessenthaler, I think his name is. Yeah, Andy Hessenthaler. He's their head of recruitment at Gillingham. Played for Hull City in the early 2000s. On loan in 2005, played 10 times. He's managed Gillingham as a player manager, Dover as a player manager, then Gillingham as a caretaker and as a permanent manager. Leyton Orient, Eastleigh, Dover, and then he left Dover in. His contract was cancelled by mutual consent at Dover in January 2023, and on the same day he returned to Gillingham as their head of recruitment. His nephew, actually, Josh Hare, plays for Boreham Wood. There we go. Well, at the minute, I don't think there's an awful lot going on. There's certainly not anything I know of. So I'm not sure where we go from here. Do we leave it till 8 o'clock and just waffle for a bit? No, till 8:30 and just waffle for a bit. Waffle for another 15 minutes. I don't think that's that's not a good use of my time and of your time either. But this is deadline day. This is what happens. It ebbs and flows. There are lulls, and well, we had a bit of excitement early on. It got a little bit busy towards 3 o'clock when we had a lot of news about Brandon Fleming, Andy Smith, Xavier Simons. Now we're just in sort of calm before the second round of storm mode, aren't we? Yeah. Shall we talk a little bit about the form at home? Just because, actually, what I'm going to do quickly is I'm going to just retweet the piece I did with James. Afternoon. Xavi across. Deal sending. The deal taking Xavi down to Adams Park. Give my thoughts in James's piece below. Yeah, right. Okay, done. Yeah, home form's crap, innit? Home form is crap. What is it? 12 points from 16 games at home this season, something like that. Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad. And I like Jeff's idea of need to wear the away kit or third kit at home, a la Shota. Whack that white, right? White. Let's try the white kit at home against Norwich. Let's do it. Let's do the same against Oxford. Let's do the same against Plymouth. We'll wear it at Burnley, and we'll probably wear the third at Cardiff as well. So, well, Sunderland will wear the third as well. Let's just try and avoid the home kit for as long as possible. Whack the 120th back out. Whack the 120 back out. Give it a second run. I'll tell you what would be very nice is they get the anniversary shirt back out for Derby at home. The final home game of the 120th anniversary celebration year. And they were meant to put the kits from the Cardiff game on sale. So use two separate kits from Derby and from Cardiff. And yeah, sell them at the end. Sell them at the end of the season. Tiger Leisure, 100 quid, 150 quid. And I will happily take the Oscar Zambrano one. I have got some cash in the bank reserved for when they go on sale. I have had since September, and the club just haven't put them on yet. I'm beginning to think they forgot about them, to be honest. But yeah, love me a match one. I hope they don't auction them. But anyway, we've never lost a game in the 120th kit. Yeah, we were against Alanyaspor as well, didn't we? Not even Tim Walter could not even like Tim Walter's dreadfulness and chaos could outweigh the sheer beauty of that anniversary kit. Finn Bobs, you just missed us talking about that. Scroll back a little bit, but I narrowed it down to 4. Burstow, Burns, Palmer, or most likely, in my view, Gustavo Puerta. Just reading something that Mike's saying there. Nothing major. All I'll say as well is if this incoming is a left back and we cock it up, I know I've got it on pretty good authority that someone we looked at but didn't necessarily approach. He was on a short list. Well, not a short list. He was on a long list of left backs who we could go for at the start of this window. It's Brandon Williams. Now, I don't think the club went anywhere with it. I don't think it was ever in their thinking to explore that deeper. It was just, he's a free agent, so if need be, he's there. We obviously looked at Charlie Taylor. We've looked at, we're linked with Greg Taylor, and there was definitely something in that from Celtic. Nothing new there. So I could see us going down that route if a left back falls through, but only if we are utterly, utterly desperate. One of Matty Jacob or Sean McLaughlin get injured. Yeah. Because Brandon Fleming, not Brandon Fleming, Jesus, Brandon, you're not getting Brandon Fleming. I am not dragging you into Brandon Williams territory. Don't worry. So for Brandon Williams, he's not had a club for, well, what, 9 months now since he left Ipswich. And there's a reason for that. because he thought he made it. Well, from my view, he thought he made it before he'd actually fully made it. He got complacent. He started taking the perks of being a professional footballer at Manchester United level without having fully cemented his place there. And when it all went pear-shaped, it fully went pear-shaped for him. He had, he's 24 years old now, 25 in September. He had a disastrous loan at Norwich. He was incredibly poor there. He then went on loan to Ipswich and was again terrible. Under Kieran McKenna, coach he was familiar with. He only played 17 times, scored twice in the Championship last season, but only played 17. He's played less than 100 games in his career. The season in which he played the most games was 1920. That's an awfully long time ago. It doesn't feel like it, but the fact of the matter is he's not played consistently for so long. He hasn't hit 30 games in a season since then. He hit 29 for Norwich, but they didn't rate him at all. He was terrible for Norwich. So he's still a free agent. He's a free agent. So if we are absolutely desperate, he's one that I think the club would explore, but only if we are desperate. He's, like I say, got attitude problems, and everyone knows what he was doing off the field in terms of like doing laughing gas in balloons and nitrous oxide or whatever you want to call it, like not helium. Come on, it wasn't that sort of challenge with a balloon. It was how high could you get? So it would be, as Danny said, a pure desperation signing because we knew we'd cocked up and still wanted a left back. And he would probably need a few months to get up to fitness and get sharp because he's been out of the game for this long. I have seen Coxie said, don't forget Lincoln can play left back, but how many games has Lincoln Henrique played at left back in his career? Let me have a look. Transfer marked. Stats. Where'd you find it? All seasons. He's played at left back 8 times in his career. Can we see those 8 times? So that was... Is there a way I can filter by club? Well, I think it was mostly for Fenner, to be honest. When these are brought up, the 8 games. Yeah, here we go. So in the Super League, he played 76 minutes there in 2022 against Fatih Karagümrük. They won 5-4. 68 minutes in... so that was in October 22 when he first played there. Then January 23, he played there twice. 68 minutes in a 2-1 win against Ümraniyespor. 90 minutes, full 90, in a 5-1 win against Kasım Pasha. February, 90 minutes in a 1-1 draw with Adana Demirspor and a 4-0 win over Konyaspor, both February 23. And then once April. No, once in March, sorry. In a 2-1 win, 90 minutes against Kayserispor. 3 assists in his time at left back for Fener, to be fair, but he's only played there for Fener. Against, let's be honest, not a lot of very good teams in Turkey. Fatih Karagümrük, not very good. Umraniyaspor, not good at all. Kasım Pasha, again. Anyone outside of the big three, really, in Turkey is terrible. And then he did it twice in the Turkish Cup as well, 65 minutes. In Jan 23 against against Caykur Rizespor, where they won 2-1. And then a couple of days before that, they did the turnaround. No, sorry, this is 2024. A year after that, sorry. He did it again, 83 minutes, got a goal and an assist from left back in January 2024 in the 5th round of the Turkish Cup against Adanaspor. They won 6-0. But, like, those teams aren't a benchmark at all, really, compared to the Championship. They're terrible teams. So you can't say he can play left back because he's done it in a poor standard against 8 really, really poor teams. Well, 7 really, really poor teams, and Kasım Pasha, who are like bang average. But even like a decimated Tim Walter team in early pre-season drew 1-1 with them. So yeah, the Turkish league standard is very, very hard to gauge. James Furlong at Wimbledon, I think the plan is just leave him out there. Don't bother. Let's have a look at how James Furlong's done, actually, because I think he's played quite a bit at Wimbledon. And I think, to be honest with you, he's been playing more as more of a wing back for them. So for Wimbledon, he's played 23 times, 1 assist. Positions wise, it's been, well, at left mid, slightly more advanced. Have any of these been? Because these, like, this seems 37 games. He's only played 23, so I think for Wimbledon, I think it is far more likely he's been as a left back, and Transfermarkt just have him down as a left mid because that's where the first had him. Okay, after that, can I sort by club? The internet's struggling a little bit on Transfermarkt at the minute. Turkish league difference between teams like the MLS. It's poor. Tyler Morton to Borough. Yeah, that's a kicker, in it. They've not done it yet, but I think Tyler Morton knows he needs to move away from Liverpool now for his own career. So this season for Wimbledon, he has played 10 times as a left midfielder, as a more advanced wing back, left mid, whatever you want to call him. On here, it's a left mid, but I think it will be as more of a wing back. That 7 times in League Two, twice in the Virtu Trophy as it is now, and once in the FA Cup against Brighton's 21s, Colchester in the Virtu, in League Two against Colchester, won 4-2. Bromley, Cheltenham, Fleetwood, Salford, Accrington, and Crewe. And then in the FA Cup second round against Dagenham and Redbridge when they lost, but Furlong got the assist. So I think it is, I think he has been, that's only 7 games. He has been playing as a left back for the majority, hasn't he? Yeah, 10 games, sorry. So yeah, that's still 10 to 13. They've got him playing as a wing back, haven't they? They've got him playing as a wing back. Hilarious that Rossini used his Brighton link to bring in Furlong, then played Slater over him. I wouldn't say he played Slater over him, Ashley. Good evening, by the way, mate, because Furlong was left back and Slater went and covered at right back when Christie was finished and Coyle was battered because he was in the walls a lot last year. Borough Sunderland 1-1. Right, we've made it to the hour. Anything new? Any new developments? Made it to the hour half, sorry. Doesn't look like it. So that is where we shall leave it. We've got 2.5 hours left. Let's see what's going to happen. Thank you all very much for tuning in. I will see you all soon. Up the Tigers. And yeah, goodbye.